Good morning. My name is Jacob Folger, and I'm an artist sculptor. And today we're going to make a fairy garden in this hocking jar here that I picked up at a local department store for $8. And I thought that was a great deal because it's a pretty big one actually. And we have some small pebbles for drainage to go in the bottom of the garden, and we have soil here, a little bit of soil, and we have live moss, and got a couple different kinds. We have mood moss here, and we have fern moss, and we also have an air plant. And then we have a number of different kinds of stones here, and some smaller ones here. And we'll go ahead and get started. I'm going to make a little bit of room here. Trying to make a little bit of room. There we go. Just going to put the pebbles. Now I recommend when you put the pebbles in the bottom that you kind of put them in by hand so they don't break the jar. And you want like a couple inches in the bottom, like that. Now, moss does not require soil, but if you can put some plants in, they will. And also, soil will help bring moisture to the moss, so it's good to have. This is organic potting soil, so I'm just going to put that in the bottom. But you know what I kind of have in mind? To make like a little hill. So I'm going to start adding soil kind of to one side, like this. Building it up. Okay. And then before I put my moss in, I think I'm going to put some stones in. I've got this stone here, and I'm going to kind of stand it up on its end because I want to kind of create like a little mountain scene. So maybe another one here like that, and then I can put the moss in around it. Maybe one down here. And then I can work around that. I can put the moss in around that. So I've got a little bit of fern moss here. Now you can just tear this like that. You can also cut it with scissors and just lay it in like that. And I've got some of this little pieces of mood moss here, and I'm just gonna kind of mix it in there. I've got a little piece here I want to put kind of behind these stones here. Just kind of lay it in there. Again, not really cramming it in, but just laying it in around the stones. Even letting some of the tendrils kind of come up and climb the stones a little bit. I'll put a little bit of this. So it's, you know, a very natural look. Couple different kinds of moss. So like this, you can see this moss here is a lot more, it's a lot darker than the fern moss. So you know what that does, if you have like darker and lighter, the stones are different colors and lighter, what that does is it draws your eye from one place to another, so it creates more interest. Let's put some smaller stones here and there. I've got some even smaller stones here, and I'm just gonna, you know, add a couple here and there around. I'm just landscape it here a little bit. Now, one thing I haven't done yet, which I thought would be fun, is if I actually made the fairy houses to go in it after I made the garden, so I know what I want, then I make what I want, as opposed to making everything beforehand. I think I'm going to put a stone here. A couple up in here. Like that. Put this air plant in here. I'm just going to put it back behind the stone for now. Kind of work it in there. So now this is the garden so far. That's pretty good. So I think what I want to do is I want to put a little house up top here, and then maybe one here and possibly one over here. So they're going to be pretty small houses. I'll push that out of the way. I'll get some polymer clay here. This is Sculpey 3 brand, and it's what I use usually, and I oftentimes sculpt in black because the finishes look really good on the black clay. Now I do want to knead it, and what that also does is it conditions the clay so that all the ingredients are mixed up inside of it. I'm going to take a little bit of clay and roll it into a ball like that. Then I'm going to roll it into just a little bit of an oblong shape like that. I'm going to squeeze it on both sides. 2 fingers on one side, on 2 sides, and 2 fingers on the other 2 sides. When I squeeze it like that, it forms like a little rectangular shape. Like that. If I pinch the top a little bit, it will create a peak. So it looks like that. Now I'm going to take another piece of clay, a small one like this here. I'm going to roll it into a noodle and then squeeze it flat, but not like completely flat, not so it's squished, but kind of flat shape like that. I'm going to place it on the peak of the house and squeeze it into place so it makes like a little roof like that. These are really simple little fairy houses that are very easy to make. Then I'm going to take another little piece of clay, just a little tiny piece like this. Roll it into a little oblong shape, and this will be for the chimney. And I'll just press that in, kind of flatten the top a little bit like that. Then I'll take the back end of a paintbrush and put a little hole in the top like that. I can take the same paintbrush and I can put it in a window here. And then I can hold the brush end like this and make a little door. You can see it's just a really simple little process. Then what I can do is I can take some wire. This is 18 gauge galvanized steel wire, and cut off a couple inches. And stick it into the bottom of the house like that, and now it's pinned, and then when I put it into the garden it will stand up on its own. Now I want to put a little finish on it, so I'm going to use this product here called Pigments, and I'm going to use the color Antique Bronze. I'm going to get a little bit on my finger like that, and then I'm going to swirl it to kind of get it more subdued, and then I'm just going to highlight the house like that. I do want it, for me, I want it to be an antique finish. I don't want it to be really bright and shiny. I want it to look old. And this mixed with the green of the moss and the stones will look really nice. Now I'm going to make a few more houses and I'll be right back. And then once you've got your houses made, you can bake them. And if you look in the video description down below the video, you'll find a tool and supply list of all the things that we're using, and baking instructions for the clay as well. Look down there and follow those instructions and bake your houses. And then we'll come back and put them in our garden. Okay, we're going to put our little houses in the fairy garden, and I'm just going to set them in to where you want them, and then just press the wire down in. You can adjust it. That one is kind of hard to see, I know. I'm going to try to get this one a little bit. This one might be a little bit easier to see. So I'm going to put it, I think, right here. Yeah, this is really kind of a cute little design. I tend to do my gardens a little bit more simple. And I like them that way. And that's what it looks like. So a couple things. This is a hocking jar, and this particular lid doesn't have any kind of rubber seal on it. So while it would be enclosed, you still want to check the moss to make sure it's moist and stays moist, because it's not, a really tight seal. So just keep that in mind if you have a jar like this. Some jars have a rubber seal, and it would be pretty much airtight, but this one won't be. As far as watering goes, what I do is I use a little mister, just a water bottle like this that has a misting sprayer on the end, and I just give it a misting, but I'm not looking to like get it, you know, soaking wet. I want to keep the moss moist but not soaking wet. Another thing is, so you would check it. If I had a hocking jar like this with that type of lid without a seal in it, I'll probably check the moss once a week. I'll stick my hand down in there and make sure it's moist. And if it isn't, then I'll spray it a little bit. Now, as far as sunlight goes, you're going to want bright sunlight, but you don't want to stick it like directly in the sun. So, because it could get really hot inside here and hurt the moss for one thing, but also moss likes shade and not a lot of direct sunlight. So just keep that in mind. It's really a fun and easy project once you have all your elements. And I will put a source for the moss in the video description under the tool and supply list. I'll put a couple places where you can buy moss online. Now, if you like this kind of content, please subscribe to my channel. I have many videos along these lines, and also feel free to share the video with your friends and on any social media you are on. Leave me a comment or question in the comment section, and give the video a thumbs up. Let me know that you liked it. And thank you so much for watching, and have a great day.